Welcome to Inspiring Teachers, a show bringing you classroom tips, motivation, and stories from successful educators. Join Tavis Bean and Danny Hauger as they explore the why of teaching.
Welcome to Inspiring Teachers. I'm Danny Hauger, and today I'm going to talk to you about ditching homework in middle school and high school in order to accomplish more in the classroom and improve the way students see your subject matter and the way your class operates. Today's episode is brought to you by AmpedUpLearning.com. Amped Up Learning is a two-teacher owned and operated website where you can sell resources as a teacher or find amazing, proven activities, project-based learning, FREC resources and decks, a whole bunch of really cool math and English language arts ideas that teachers far brighter than me in those subjects have created to get out of the sit and get rid of teaching and get your students moving around the classroom or thinking in new ways and critically understanding material in a deeper way. When you go to ampeduplearning.com or follow them on social media and you use the Hauger History 10 promo code, you're going to save 10% off your order. And you're going to find a bunch of cool stuff to improve your practices in the classroom. If you go to the Hauger History store, you will get in-depth a lot of my favorite things that I've ever made, including a full school year of journal entries. And that has bell work, it has questions, and a way to document learning, which we're going to talk about right now. Well, welcome into the show. I hope you're doing really well. Follow us on Twitter at ShowTeachers or me at Danny Hauger or at DHXMusic. And I was thinking about something I haven't talked about on the show because it's a bit of a hot button issue. Do I have anything? This looks like a hot button, right? Push, hot. Anyways, I ditched homework about 3 years ago as a social studies teacher in middle school. I just saw and heard more and more parents tell me how many hours a day their kids were spending on math and English. And that by the time they got to social studies, they were exhausted, or it was 10 or 11 at night, and they were really stressed because they had practice or clubs. In high school, that answer became jobs and friendships and family requirements. And so I changed to a 3-2-1 system. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. I'll show you a screenshot. This is my start of the year journal pack, which I've expanded into a full year's journals, which you can purchase for just $3. I feel like it's the cheapest and best value that I offer because it's for a whole school year. And it has a block schedule's worth, so every 2 days there is a journal questions. You could do this every other day in your classroom if you wanted to, if you were an everyday class meeting schedule. And each one has a historical topic. So on this day, July 29th in 1981, Prince Charles married Lady Diana at a royal ceremony at St. Paul's Cathedral. Estimated that 500 million people watched on TV in 74 countries. Why do you think people care about the royals or celebrities or are focused on those kinds of things? That should get a lot of people talking, and even the ones who aren't talking are going to be writing and thinking and warming up their minds, and you can have a cool conversation from 1 or 2 minutes up to 10 or 15 minutes of each class day that really gets students appreciating what happened in history, and then get to your standards and get to your tasks to accomplish. Now, underneath that are 3 things that they learned from your class. If you have ever had a student tell you that you never taught them something on a quiz or test day, isn't that the most blood-boiling thing you've ever heard? I don't get it anymore because now students have to write down at least 3 things that they learned. Maybe it's facts, vocab, or details that are important. Then they have to write down 2 things that were interesting to them that they actually thought in their mind was cool for some reason. And then they have to ask a question either that they didn't fully understand while you were teaching it, or maybe something that they want to know more about, and they have to look up the answer. That has to be done every day. And by doing that, they're creating a journal or a map or an archive of your teaching. They're creating a reference to everything they learned that day. And if parents are ever wondering what they're doing, they've got a wonderful list that they have to have with them to show for it. Now, do they still need to take some additional notes? Sure. But sometimes I'll give those out in a handout or I'll put them in a podcast so that they're accountable for that. But now they have to also give them a self-score. How do they think they did out of 7 points? Did they do a thorough job? Do they deserve a good grade? Do they deserve points and credit for completing this task daily? It becomes a routine. It becomes something that helps them document, helps them listen and realize they're learning because they're seeing it every day. And it gives them a foundation of notes as well. It has changed my social studies world for the positive. So instead of having homework, like go read the chapter, I'm going to teach you that in class. We're going to be working effectively on some kind of a processing activity, a project, a piece of art, an audio recording, a presentation, a group project, some kind of visual making. All of those things are still done to deepen the learning, the understanding, to dive deeper. We're reading a ton of primary sources and analyzing them verbally. And I try to work around the class and get every student. And if not, then I'll ask them to see it in writing and complete their thoughts, or I will check notes. But now I don't need to assign homework anymore because I can see every day what they're learning, and I can walk around the room and watch them answer journals. It leads us on great discussions, and it creates an archive of the base knowledge that you wanted them to learn. It could be standards-based if you want it to be. It can be information-based to inform your teaching, what you need to teach better based on the questions they still have at the bottom. And you end up with a wonderful array of documenting. And that can also be, sometimes I'll have them take notes separate from this, and I'll have them document the 3 things they learned and 2 things that are interesting from the daily news. And I'll open up a few tabs from various news sites so we don't just get one singular viewpoint, and have them analyze current events. Sometimes I'll have them pull out their phones and find current events and populate it themselves and turn and talk and then share with the room. But altogether, this richness means as a teacher, you never see the same class twice. You never have the same experience twice. It's a dynamic, living, functional classroom. It's very inviting for conversation, debate, understanding, kindness, because we're understanding more people's perspectives. And it is just the best resource that I've made, I think, out of everything. And it's one of the least appreciated, which is the reason I wanted to do this video. So it doesn't mean that they're not working. In fact, I think they're working more than if you're just reading the book in class and then doing homework and answering questions, because every class is a vivid, active listening, active participation experience, and it's lively. I really think it's improved what we do quite a bit. So I hope that that's a helpful tip for you. A few more things. I love doing projects like once a month, but I give them class time to work on it. That way, if they don't finish it, then they may have to take it home and do it, but that wasn't my directive. That was because they weren't functioning in class, which will motivate them once they see it, this actually play out, that they do have homework if they don't do their work in class. They'll start doing their work in class. So you get them to be self-starters, you get them to be more responsible for their learning. And then at the end of it, you get this cool pack of journal information and all the history they've seen from each day that you've met. And they really are living out and experiencing history each and every day. Here's some of the feedback I've gotten. People love not having an additional subject to work on every night because they have math homework, it's a given. Science and English are usually given too. So you can be the teacher that gives them a slight understanding of a break. You can be the understanding teacher that understands their schedule and their needs. And also, I think it gives you ground to be more demanding of them during the bell-to-bell class day, because you can continue to remind them, hey, you don't have homework, but at the same time, you're going to be working when I give you something. Get going. Get started. And you can kind of walk around them and guide that as well. And so when you're still seeing excellent verbal participation for assessment, you can give, this is an exit ticket if you want each day, where they have to clip it and hand it to you out the door, so you know that they're not slacking. You can use it to collect every 2 weeks or every month or every semester, depending on how you think that functions best in your room. You've got them giving you a self-score, which builds some trust in honesty. It's a good test of that. And I think it also gives you a leg up with parents too, because if you explain the system properly, then everyone appreciates that. Like, I would say out of all the history teachers, I probably have students write the most. It doesn't look like a lot. This is just a half page, but then they're taking notes. And then if they're working on a project, they're answering that too. And I'll still collect other work in class. I will. So this is by no means all of it, but it's a good chunk. And it also gives a good sense of routine, a sense of what's going to happen when you come into class. The journal gets kids quiet at the bell because they need to start working, because you're only going to give them X amount of minutes before you start into the lesson. And I just can't say enough about it. I think it's a phenomenal thing to do. If you've got any ideas for tweaks, have you done this? Has it worked for you? Comment down below. If you have a better way of doing it, let me know by all means. And otherwise, thank you so much for checking out Inspiring Teachers. I have new music out called Spring to Life. It's an album that's on Spotify, Pandora, all digital music stores. Go to ampeduplearning.com, use the Hauger History 10 promo code. We've got a bunch of resources there as well that can be helpful to you. And you can follow us at Show Teachers for more good ideas as we continue to go along in the school year. And I wish you a great early year and hope you're doing very well, being kind, being safe, and inspiring students to do more in their future. All right, well, that's it for today. So we'll see you on the next edition of Inspiring Teachers. I'm Danny Hauger, wishing you all the best. For now, class is dismissed. See ya.